Alright, welcome to the first installment of the Shitbox Shed. And first project on the docket, we are going to be fixing up a 2005 Honda Element. So this thing I got for pretty cheap. I just put a different engine in it. The old engine had some major issues with spitting out chunks of metal, barely running, basically clogging up a little particulate filters in no time with just chunks of metal and then going into engine protect. So I put a K24 A8 in it from a 2007 Honda Accord, and this bad boy is going to be turned into a truck. We're going to go blip, chop, chop, and then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to make the inside parcel. Probably make it out of fiberglass. I was thinking of doing it out of metal, but I think having like the fiberglass kind of like the plastic on the side trim is going to match the aesthetic of this. But we'll see. You know, we're just making rough plans right now. This video is going to be about me taking some parts off. I already started taking it apart. So already taking the door apart. So basically I'm going to strip everything on the inside, and then this suicide door is going to be welded shut, and the partition will go boom just past that seatbelt tensioner, and yeah, that'll be it. So this video is going to be about some destruction, some ripping and tearing, and yeah, it's not bad shape. I mean, we got a cracked windshield. Overall the dash is in pretty good shape. A little bit of tearing in the seat, but you know, it's got 360,000 kilometers on it, so we can't expect too much for that, and the price was very reasonable. So basically we're going to take that back C-pillar, I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to move it up here. But today we'll pull out this headliner and we'll see what we're working with. But for now, I'm going to start removing these back windows, the sunroof, and try to figure out what I'm going to do with this, and straight unbolting this hatch. I probably won't take this off until my friend comes later. That way I don't drop it and wreck it. I'd rather not do any damage to it. I'd rather just take it off, keep it in one piece, because I'm going to use a lot of this again, and I'm going to use a lot of this trim piece and this back area, building it into the car. And I want to make it functional, so when I'm driving I can have this open, and it'll be like in the box, but I can have this open, and then if I needed to put lumber or something into the passenger side, I easily could. Just no problem. I could fold down that seat and run lumber in there. So I might put another tailgate inside as well. I'm just not sure yet. We're gonna see what my skills will dictate. Alright, it's in about 20 minutes. I got all this out. This is just trim pieces, A-pillar trim, some visors, little console for the top, we have some lights, all the other stuff, and it looks like all we got left is this little seal around the actual moonroof, sunroof kind of thing, and then I can start popping down this thing. Oh, it looks like I have a handle over there I gotta pull off. Let's see if I can pull this bad boy off. I don't know why, but these handles have like been aggressively used. They're like bent. I mean, I know why. Someone was sending it, right? So we can't be mad at them for that. Try to do this with one hand. Oh, it's a Phillips. Try to do it with one hand. See how good I am. Yeah, that's a really bent looking handle. But you know what? they're just treating it the way that I'm going to treat it. This is going to be going full send all the time. So I just pulled off the rear view mirror, and a little trick I like to do so I don't lose the hardware is if I can't clip it in the actual piece, I just put it back in the hole where I got it from, and then when I go to reinstall the thing, the hardware is there. I know, hard to do this and shoot the video, but I think you get the idea. So there we go, that's in there. All that's left is these and that other little piece of trim at the back, and this headliner is coming out. Right, I just got these windows out, side windows, pulled this trim off, and they're pretty simple. I'm just sitting there with the rubber trim. They just have a couple nuts on the one side and then a couple bolts on the other side that has the little hinge to pop it open. And this part did not want to come off very well. All of these clips stayed in, so that's always fun, but I'm not reusing them because it's probably going to get hacked off right there, right along that body line, so I don't care. Yeah, pretty exciting so far. Just got to find a lot of place to store all this stuff, and hopefully I can sell it or get rid of it in a way that isn't just throwing it right in the dumpster. But I'm sure someone needs some element parts. Maybe I'll put them on eBay. So a lot of time doing these builds is just sitting and staring at things for a while. Staring at how these C-pillars are and how I'm going to be cutting out the B-pillars, what I'm going to need to do to keep this thing stable. I'll probably tack the back doors in place before I start cutting, just so the frame and square doesn't come out of this thing. But we'll see. And I might take those latches right out at the back on the back doors and just weld it straight to the actual frame up there. But we're gonna see, you know, part of doing this is figuring out what you want to do. So yeah, probably put in a filler piece here and just tack this here, just so this whole thing is really solid, and or make a piece that bolts from here to here on both sides, and then it's nice and structurally solid before I go hacking it apart. I also have to remove all of the wiring that is going to go to the back as well. So that looks like it's just for the actual interior light, but there is the stuff in that back corner that I'm going to have to pull out of that door, and I'm going to pull that door off and basically lop off those C-pillars and just move that whole back door area to where my new B-pillar is going to be. But we're just going to kind of go one step at a time. I think now that I've talked about it, I definitely will make a bracket for here and just remove this piece altogether, and then just make a piece that bolts this right to this, and then I can put in a filler plate down here to kind of tie it all into the body to make it nice and strong. Alright, so this is through the sunroof hole. So the roof's got a little bit of cancer that we got to deal with, but we're going to pop off all these trim pieces all the way around, pop off stuff like this, and I'll start working back all this wiring that I need out of the way. The actual latch, the actual back hatch there, I actually just unclipped, and then I'll just pull back whatever wiring I can to get it back to right behind the driver's seat. Yeah, it's coming good though. Looks good. We still have all of the brackets for the seats, so I think if I build this properly, I can have the seats in here so people can ride in the back, and then I'll just have to make like a roll bar to put in the actual seat belt pieces here, and then people can be clipped in the back, and it'd be nice and strong, nice and safe. And in these elements you can actually turn the seats and face backwards, so obviously that would be for more like when you're just camping and not so much when you're driving along, but we'll see. We will see. I know I say that a lot. I know I say we'll see a lot, but we will see, because I don't know how legal this thing's gonna be, but I'm hoping it's legal, because I'm just not gonna say anything. I live in British Columbia, and I think it's kind of like Florida, where I think you can kind of get away with stuff as long as it's not too obnoxious and too outrageous. So I think if I do this right and build it properly, people aren't gonna really question it too much. And the police here are pretty freaking cool. They're pretty good. I haven't had any issues with them. You know, knock on wood. So we'll see what happens. Alright, we're back with the element here. We're about to attempt to remove this window. I got some windshield removing tool. I got my slutty friend Connor.
Slut McGee.
He's gonna be behind the scenes in a lot of the videos. And yeah, we have to kind of move inside because it's starting to rain, getting a little bit shitey out. And I don't have a sunroof in there anymore, so. But yeah, we'll update you when we get the window out, how it goes. It's a rainy day at the shitbox shed, and we got work to do on the old element named Eleanor. Don't worry, not spelt like any copy infringement Eleanor, but just spelt E-L-E-N-O-R. So we gotta get these windows out today, and we gotta finish up moving the wiring. Connor was here last night. We pulled off this back hatch, and then I'm going to start marking it out once I get these windows out and that wiring done for where I'm going to cut it. And the idea, like I went over yesterday, is I'm going to cut this top portion off, and we're going to move it back, and so we're going to keep these little side pieces as well, cut them off about there, and then the whole hatch where it's moved up is going to be functioning as well. Key lock everything, and I'll have to make a little latch for it to clip in at the bottom, but that's no problem. That's no problem. Alright, so it's the next day. I didn't get these windows out. We just had a heck of a time. I think there's like a clip back here, so I got it kind of loose, but it's hung up here, and I'm just gonna have to go at it alone today with that little wire, try to saw it out. And last night Connor and I pulled out all of the wiring, so he pulled out the wiring out of these doors, took it all out, and I just pulled it down, and then I pulled the wiring back from the inside of the car all here. So this is the wire that goes to the door, and this is all the stuff that will go to the hatch. And then he also pulled back, I don't think you can see it, he pulled back the wiring for the interior light that goes all the way to the back. And I'm just going to delete it, and or maybe run it up to this one. I don't really need it though. I don't need two lights. So that's kind of my plan today, is to get those windows out and get this wiring cleaned up with some electrical tape, shorten it. I'm going to solder it all, shorten it all, and then after that I can find some loom, put some loom on it, get it all ready to go, and then I can start thinking about marking out exactly where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it a little bit big, and then I'll trim it down to size after. Alright, so I'm almost done with the wiring. Just gotta make a ground wire and extend it back, and same thing with this, but I'll probably wait to do that just to see exactly where it'll go. This is the wiring harness for the back hatch and back glass and windshield wiper and all that stuff, so it's going to come up around here somewhere, but I'm going to just wait to finish that for when I need to figure out where the ground's going. This is the one for the door, is all done. I have it nice loomed in there, everything. That one's, again, I'll finish off where the ground, this is the ground for that. I'll finish off where that one's going to go once I have a good ground. And this is the speaker wire that was in the door. I'm no longer going to have that back speaker in the door. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'll just leave it out for now, and I'll finish that when I have the speaker in place and when I have an enclosure. But for now, I'm off to the other side, which is not nearly as much because it didn't have all of this hatch wiring in it. Alright, just like that, the other side is done. Didn't take me nearly as long, probably only 15 minutes on this side, just because all I had to do was for the door, and then again I got the speaker wire and a ground wire coming out. My intention is to make it look like you would get it from the factory, and like this, and be able to still service things like you would, and not have to cut and splice wires if you need to take something out, like a tensioner or door pin or anything like that. It would just unplug and plug a new one in, and it wouldn't be hard to fix. Oh, glorious day, I finally got one of these windows out. Only took me a couple tries. That wire's pretty sharp. It'll cut right through the metal, get caught and break. And there's these clips on it. Leave it to Honda to put clips on a window that gets glued in. It's probably just so they can help glue it in when they put it in. But what a pain in the butt, Honda. So I got everything off but this last window. So one window to go. Let's get this one out in good shape, so then maybe someone else could use these windows for fixing up their element. Yeah, everything's going good. I mean, the wiring's getting there. This is out. Next thing you know, we'll be masking up lines on this thing and building those brackets to bolt this door right to the actual unibody, and we'll be cutting. Maybe this afternoon we'll be cutting, I don't know. No rush. Just like that, we have Bluetooth windows. They are gone. And we can start drawing up lines with masking tape and getting a rough image of what this is going to look like. Maybe pull it outside in the sun. Looks like it's a nice day now. It was raining when I started, but I'd way rather be outside working on this. And I'll probably cut it outside just because that's that much less crap I'm breathing inside the shop. Alright, I got it outside. Oh, this is gonna be so sweet. Just imagining that C-pillar, boom, popping up halfway through the door, welding it in. I'm gonna make like some temporary structure to go across for when I cut it apart, so it doesn't go too far out of square. Right now I'm gonna work on the little brackets to bolt on these side doors, so they will be permanent, stationary, and then I can pull off this back frame, this back hinge right here, and then the whole thing will be not moving. It will be permanent from that point on. Yeah, and the little wall, the transition wall, will just be just on this far side of that fuel access panel for the fuel pump. But yeah, it's coming along. It's gonna be awesome. It's a very exciting project. I've never done anything this big before, and I don't want it to be super white trash. I just want it to be pretty legit and look cool. So that's what we're going for, but we'll see, I guess. All right, so I got the first little bracket kind of roughly made. I might remake it. I tried to drill the holes first, and then I bent it. I think I'll just cut the length, bend it, and then what I did after is I just held it up and then marked where the holes would be. So I might remake it. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make one on this side. It's really solid, just that one bracket, and the whole thing's gonna be welded together as well. So it's just kind of, yeah, I don't even know if it's gonna be permanent. I imagine I'll leave it, but I might put a different fastener there. I needed a longer M7, I think it is. I'm not sure, a little 10 mil head bolt. Needed a longer one to fit in there. But yeah, it works really good, nice and solid. Door's not going anywhere. It's not moving at all. Very, very solid. So I think this will help keep the vehicle nice and solid. So I guess it wouldn't hurt if I had another one there. But, you know, we'll see how ambitious I get. Alright, I cut out a couple tabs and I made this bar. I just had this bar, just cut it down to 54 inches. And I'm going to weld it together, just tack it. And then I'm going to bolt it on to those sides where those bolts are going in sideways. And I'm just going to bolt that in there just to hold this structure really secure and strong before I start cutting it apart. So now I got all these other brackets in. That other bracket there is on top of that door. This bracket here on top of this door. We're just doing all of the preparatory stuff before I start taping and then ultimately start slicing. Alright, so I just have a little tack there. And I put a couple little tacks at the back. Not a very good welder. I have to get a better one before I continue on too far with this project. But this is just going to be just to kind of hold it square, hold it in there. I think you can see my lighting kind of sucks in the shop. Guess I have to get more lights. Alright, so I got it all taped off. And I'm going to cut above that line. Boom, cut above that line. Cross, boom. That off. And yeah. See how this thing looks when it's all put together. Alright, so we got the chopping started. I got the back piece cut off that I'm going to use. And I got a bunch of stuff cut. I just ran out of batteries. So this is going to be it for today. And I'll come back to it tomorrow. And we'll see where I get to. Well, look at that. It is the next day. And I finished chopping the Element truck up. Now for more planning, a little bit more trimming and cutting today. Look at that space though. All the room for really glorious activities. Fit like a little mini bike or something in there. It's gonna be awesome. I'm super pumped. All my batteries died yesterday. All my cameras were full of storage. And I spent a bunch of the morning trying to export videos off them. But from the front, it's just going to look unsuspectingly like an Element. And then you'll get to the side of it and be like, oh my god, this thing is the mullet of Elements. It's got a party in the back. Yeah. Alright, so just a little update. I have this back piece kind of clipped in place for now. I'm going to cut it back a little bit more. I do like where it's coming down though. I just cut the corners out. I just slotted it in there, and then I'll just like fill in all of these pieces in layers to make it super strong. Yeah, I just have it cut out the top and then just slot it in. It's just about a 1/4 inch thinner in width, the back piece from this piece. So it just slides in, and then I'll just tack it together on those edges once I have it firmly in place. You can see a little bit further out on this side. So we'll have to center it perfectly. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm just going to do some time-lapse video stuff of it, and we'll go from there. this is the view from the top. Getting pretty locked in, smoothed out. I do have these weird grooves down here. I'm just gonna try to weld it as good as I can, and then obviously I'll have to Bondo taper that out like it was from the factory. But that's just no problem for a guy like me. So I think I'll have this tacked in place pretty soon here, and then I can work on the support structures. I got some 1x1 square tubing that I'm going to bring up, and then I'm going to bring a piece over from the inside of this frame over to that, and same thing on the other side, and then I'll worry about making those pieces and the frame for the bottom of this wall. Alright, so I got these little pieces cut out, and I have them welded on here to extend this track for that. Both sides. I might cut out a little bit more. The tail light wraps around to here, but I might cut out just this part down just in line with where it's going to be in the tailgate, and then up here somewhere, and then I can always make a piece that comes from here to there. Like I can cut off that piece and then make a piece that comes from here to there and fill in the bottom, and then I'll just put a flat piece here just to kind of, it makes it so I can get a 4-foot sheet in the bed now, because before it was about 46 inches I think. We could actually measure. Yeah, 45 inches. So I wanted to be able to get a 4-foot sheet of plywood in here and not have it hanging over this big edge. So now I can do that. But I think I will finish cutting that out and just cutting it up to that line, just wherever. I'll put the tail light back in. I think it sits up to there. I'll cut that out, and then I can weld in a piece of steel from here to this angled point after. I'll just cut it down whatever it is, the 2 or 3 more inches, cut it around, boom, and I'll really only keep like just that little piece there. But there'll be a lot of metal work on this, a lot of brake work and stuff, so it'll be a nice learning experience for me. I've done little bits of body work, but this is by far the most I'll have to have done on any vehicle. So you can see it's not crooked, everything's just kind of, I just have it kind of tacked there with my crappy welder. I'll have to get a better welder before I can finish this project, but that's on the docket. Alright, so I got some vertical 1x1 steel in here, just running all the way down to the frame. I got it on both sides, and that's just going to be part of the structure, just welded right down to a very thick plate that bolts into the car and then also to the frame, and then welded up here. Same thing on that side. You can see just how much space is in the cab here. Seats laying back. If you move it forward a little bit, I think the whole seat will lay back, which is a ton of space. Like I can have a killer stereo or something in here, or just put tools in it or whatever. This is my work truck. I'm making a work truck so I can haul things around, and yeah, it's coming along though. I mean, this is the first update in hours and hours and hours, so it's just a lot of tedious work to cut these pieces around these angles, and same thing, weird angles down there. And now I can kind of make a plate that comes across the top here to weld this door skin to that, and then make like a little filler here, and then I can weld this all together, and then this door will be solid. I'm also going to make a plate that comes across from this bar to the skin that kind of follows all the contours, and then that will weld this door solid to this bar as well. And then what else is on the docket? I'm bringing a piece of 1-inch steel across this way that's going to tie into this, and then I can bring pieces across this way, and that is going to be for the cap, just to kind of hold the cap and to hold the whole thing really solid. And I don't think I'm going to have space to have the seats facing forward, in the back, but I think I can face them backwards. So I think I can still put the seats in, face them backwards, and then if I make spots for the tensioners to bolt up there and up there, then the whole thing, you could actually have seat belts in here as well. You know, it's a lot of work. That's going to be definitely in the thought process, but I might not make tensioner mounts for it, and I might just make them sit in there for like when I go camping and want to hang out in the darn thing. Alright, it is another day at the shitbox shed, and boy howdy am I excited. I am just frothing at the dick with this one. You know, I'm just getting ready to shit my pants. It's going to be a good one. We're going to start it up, I'm going to pull it out, I'm going to show you what I got to last night, and see, maybe we'll make a plan for today. We'll go from there. Alright, what did I get to yesterday? Finished making these rail edges, and I just kind of welded them in a little bit. I tied in this frame just with some scrap pieces of 1-inch tube, just to kind of hold to this little bit of thicker metal that's holding this lift gate latch on it. And we're going to throw the lift gate on, and then I'm going to start designing the bottom wall that's going to tie basically the two sides together. That's going to make things really strong, and then we're going to we're going to mount the latch for the bottom of that lift gate, so it's got something to latch onto. It's on a little bit of a weird angle, so I might have to go find my angle finder for doing carpentry. It's probably like a 10 or 15 degree angle, but we'll find that. We'll find the angle, we'll build our bottom wall, and then this whole thing will start to really start tying together. Then we can really tie in those doors. We can maybe work on the filler pieces today for these and start tacking it together, and work on the top pieces that come across and start tacking this door to the actual frame. Alright, so I have a temporary frame at the bottom for this tailgate, and I just pulled the skin off. It's not really welded in. I have to do a little bit of rust repair in the corners here before I can do that, so I'm just going to hold off for a couple days on that. I'm going to go see if I can find another tailgate at the pick and pull, and that's what I'm going to do today. And then tomorrow I'm just going to clean up this and clean up the shop, because pulling off all these parts has just left this super disorganized. So I'm going to find boxes, and I'm going to put the necessary stuff in boxes, stuff that I'm going to keep, and then stuff I'm going to sell. Yeah, I just have sheet metal and little pieces of metal everywhere. So part of doing a job is being very organized, and I just have to spend some time the next day or two just organizing so I can keep going with this. Alright, so I just got this tailgate put on, and it looks freaking sweet. Check out the profile of this bad boy. Oh my god, that looks so awesome. You know, new challenges now, like how am I going to get this profile, because this is kind of how it seals up, is this profile. So I think I'm going to get another tailgate and use that to kind of mount in there, because that's just going to be way easier than trying to fabricate this whole profile. And I'll probably take this tailgate off, move it up there, and then just get another tailgate, because they're pretty easy to pop off and on. Just a kind of a clip and then about, I think, 4 bolts, and the whole thing will pop off. So I'll just move this up there, and then if I need to fabricate a new piece for a cross, I will. I'm not sure I will though. Like, it looks like it just kind of fits in. Like, if you look, tailgate just swings inside that frame rail. This is such a fun build, and it's so cool, like getting to do this kind of stuff. I've always wanted to do it, and now I'm at a point in my life that I don't give a shit anymore, so I'm gonna do it. So if you like this kind of stuff, I'm gonna do all sorts of weird things like this, and weird wacky things like e-bikes, you know, motorized kids cars, whatever. You know, this is vehicle, this thing's for sale right now. This is a Honda CR-V that I fixed up. It's got big Ford Ranger tires on it and a toolbox on it, and just an awesome unit. You know, I made this big metal push bumper for it, and it's not been off-road or anything, but it looks like it could handle off-road. But in reality, it's a Honda. It could handle going down a soft road for sure.